What is? Hold on. All right, that's it. The quickest Fight Hype Live intro music ever. It is your man Sean Zittel. Fight Hype Live, as always, from the high-tech, elaborate, illustrious headquarters here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Good to be joined by everybody. Blind Faith, what's going on? I got my man Blind Faith already sending super chats before we get started. I'm going to get right to them, Blind Faith. But what is going on, everybody? Got some news late last week, but heading into the weekend that Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson, a fight that was going to get penciled in for November 16th, F1 weekend on ESPN. That fight gets scrapped. It looks like due to Martin, it sounds, reports saying that he is pulling out of the fight. But yeah, the fight's not happening after it was going to go to a purse bid, and then apparently sides had reached a deal, but apparently that deal is not to be. So Shakur Stevenson loses out on a Frank Martin fight, and Devin Haney gets to, at the same time, 3 weeks later, December 9th in San Francisco, gets to defend fight for the WBC super lightweight title against Regis Prograis, hosting, despite being the challenger, hosting in his hometown in the Bay Area in San Francisco. So what's going on, everybody? I actually was supposed to be in Houston, Texas today for Jermell Charlo's Media Day workout, which is set to go down at about 2:30 my time here on the West Coast. I was at the Broncos-Raiders game yesterday covering that. And the original plan was to cover the Broncos-Raiders game and then fly out of Denver into Houston to see Jermell Charlo work out for the undisputed super middleweight title fight in a couple weeks, September 30th here in Las Vegas. But apparently the workout had to be canceled because of some COVID concerns in Houston. So media is not able to attend, and now that's just a virtual virtual workout that we will have here on Fight Hype Live later today. And then Wednesday was supposed to be Canelo's workout in Tahoe, but I'm hearing it's probably going to be canceled to media for the same reasons, COVID scares. So here I am in Las Vegas when I thought I'd be in Houston, Texas, getting ready to cover Charlo. So I thought we would have our Z-cap as usual and talk about Shakur Martin being off. That sucks. Was really looking forward to it. And Haney Prograis being on, which is a good thing, which is good news. So, but let me say what's up to a few people in the chat. What's up, Blind Faith? Blind Faith with a couple of super chats right from the jump. Appreciate that, man. Said, salute Sean at Fight Hype. Let's talk. King Crocodile Shakur patrolling muddy deep waters, still hunting prey. When I read that title before I got on the live, I was like, oh man, this Blind Faith is a true Fight Hype fan, because King Crocodile Shakur patrolling muddy deep waters, still hunting prey. If you put it in all caps, Blind Faith, it sounds like a dope Fight Hype title. So shout out to you, Blind Faith, for that. And then it looks like a more serious note from Blind Faith in the second super chat saying, with many prayer hands clasped and hearts and roses, in commemoration of 9/11, today we celebrate lives of all humanity because we all need each other. We all need each other to live today as your last and go for undisputed in life, using a great analogy in boxing to make a point about all of us treasuring our lives and treating every day good and today in 9/11, the 22nd anniversary of what happened to the Twin Towers. As you guys see the Yankees behind me, I was born in New York City, grew up in Brooklyn until late 97, till I was about 6.5 years old. Lived in the Bay Area for a few months, and then lived here in Las Vegas since 98. So definitely hits home. 9/11 every year. All my family in New York gets extremely emotional when it comes to 9/11 because everyone kind of knew someone in Brooklyn or in New York City that was either a fireman or a police officer or someone that was involved out of the 2,996 that day or were affected somehow. So yeah. Anyways, before we get to the boxing, much shout out to everyone on 9/11. No doubt about that, especially New York City and the 5 boroughs. So Mar the Machine with the super chat also says, don't bring up the fake 25% offer from Haney. So yeah, thank you for the super chat, Mar the Machine, and we'll get to all of that and the narrative surrounding these two great young American fighters, Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney, and all that right now. Now that I got through that long preamble. But Thank you, Blind Faith, making us commemorate 9/11 today before we get started on the boxing. Isidro Lara says, Sean, you are the GOAT. I love that comment. Thank you, sir. Mike Seven said that Shakur played himself. CW says, I like Shakur, but he should have taken that 25%. Wouldn't have the issue now. All right, so Ken Everett says, the real journalist, reporter, ask the questions we want to hear. Salute to you too, Ken. Appreciate that. Lala D said, good afternoon, stay strong, NYC. Indeed, stay strong in New York City. So, Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson, I was excited. It almost seemed too good to be true, and it turns out that it was, because these kind of deals between Top Rank and PBC almost never happen. You know, Wilder and Fury being the last. Crawford and Porter being one. But a lot of that was Sean Porter acting on his own accord, kind of going against the original advice given to him when it came to making a fight with Terrence Crawford. He kind of went on his own accord and helped make that fight happen. And then, Al Heyman got him the best deal that he could get out of it, doing his job. So that wasn't really a mutual agreement, between PBC and Top Rank, and we're going to co-promote this thing and build it up. So the last time they really did that was Fury and Wilder. A fight between two international stars, heavyweights, for a heavyweight title. The kind of fighters and fight that'll bring those two entities together. Martin and Stevenson, not that kind of level of a draw yet. So it almost seemed too good to be true. And then, they said forget the purse bid, and I almost feel like people like me played a small part in sabotaging the fight by accident, because I said, PBC is doing great on pay-per-view and Top Rank is not. Outside of Haney Lomachenko, which was a good pay-per-view, but that was the only pay-per-view they've really done this year. But ESPN is beating PBC Showtime at the network ratings. Their network cards outdraw Showtime network cards. So maybe since Martin isn't a pay-per-view guy, they're sending him over to ESPN because, hey, in that case it's big bank, take little bank, as opposed to the pay-per-view level where it worked the other way around. So, but then all of a sudden, reality hits and the fight's not going to happen, and we're back to the normal business of boxing. And that sucks for Shakur Stevenson, because he's now been, sidestepped by Vasyl Lomachenko and Frank Martin, two of the other top 5 lightweights. And then the other one, the lightweight champion, the number 1 lightweight, Devin Haney, offers him 25%. Not an ideal offer, but now Devin, winning this PR war with Shakur Stevenson. I do think he's winning a PR war, because I don't think we're going to see a war in the ring anytime soon. Not that soon. Maybe at the least amount of time, 18 to 24 months. But I have a feeling it could be even longer than that in this particular build-up between Haney and Stevenson. So Shakur's in limbo a little bit right now. Lomachenko seems to rather fight George Kambosos. And now Frank Martin is going to do something else, and Frank Martin loses the PR war to Shakur Stevenson, but Devin Haney's winning the PR war with Shakur Stevenson on the other side, because you guys are in my chat talking about why didn't you take the 25%, and now Devin Haney gets to say, well, you wanted Frank Martin to take the short end of the stick to fight you, but then when it came time, for you to do it, you didn't want to do it for me. I've let my opinion be known on that. I just don't think that fight is really ready to happen yet, because Devin's best days at lightweight are now behind him, and I think part of why Devin struggled in the second half with Lomachenko as much as he did was because Loma's great at coming on late and all of that, but Devin also getting down to 35, I think, wasn't as strong in the second half of that fight as he was in the first half, where he fought very well with Lomachenko. So, he's got to move up. Him and Stevenson isn't a bigger fight than either one of them versus Gervonta Davis, and it isn't a bigger fight than Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. So, and youth is on their side. They're 24 and 26, so they could build it up a little bit. And from Devin's point of view, it's more advantageous to fight Stevenson later at 140 or even 147 than it is to boil down to 135 pounds, where you could probably lose something in the back end of the fight and lose something in your legs and in your strength a little bit down the stretch of the fight. So that's that. I don't really think Devin Haney's offer of 25% was to really try to make a fight in the ring. I think it was a little bit more about winning a PR war, as he knew he was set to go up to 40 to challenge for championships at 140 pounds, and he's winning that PR war. I think for now they are more interested in winning that PR war, but that doesn't mean they won't win the war in the ring if and when it does actually happen at 140 or 147 pounds. But that's my insight into that for now. But for Shakur, this just sucks, man, because the Lomachenko fight not happening for him, and now Martin's not happening for him. I love the Frank Martin fight. Now he'll have to look elsewhere for something like Jermaine Ortiz. The bright side is it looks like he'll still get, or interim or whatever the WBC is going to do to keep all options open. But I was going to go ahead and take a quick look at the WBC rankings, but Brandon Clark said Stevenson is not on Haney's level. Great stream, FightHype. No, I don't agree with that, Brandon Clark. They're definitely on the same level of fighters, both elite young fighters who are still getting better. And still building up. And I think that fight is still being built up a little bit. I don't want Crawford Spence and Mayweather Pacquiao where these guys fight each other in their 30s, but I do understand. I explained this on another stream, they're both not it's not likely a knockout happens. Stevenson hasn't fought on pay-per-view yet like Haney has, like Davis has, like Lomachenko has. And there isn't years of bad blood buildup and a potential unification at 140 like it is with Tiafimo and everything. So the good news for Shakur Stevenson is that he's still going to get to fight for a lightweight title later this year. Whoever it is, and I know he called out Edwin de los Santos. Let's take a quick look at the Box Live rankings, and we'll try to see. We'll try to see who is probably next up for Shakur. And I'll shout out some people in the chat too in a second, but Box Live rankings. Again, this is always my spot to go to get my rankings quickly. And what's up, real truth talk? Bottom line, Shakur and Tank need to be undisputed in the division and be great instead of begging people for fights, and top fighters will give them a chance. I mean, Tank's getting whatever chance he really would want. It's just they're not interested in making fights with Haney and Stevenson, unfortunately, right now. Not really. So let's see. WBC, Lomachenko, who has already said basically no. Isaac Cruz and Frank Martin. I bet you PBC would love it if they could find a way to maybe match Cruz and Martin for the vacant WBC. But then again, maybe there's been so much speculation by me and everyone else that they'd probably want to do Cruz in a rematch with Gervonta Davis. But now that Martin has not taken the Stevenson fight, part of you thinks, has he been promised or guaranteed something just as lucrative or more? And the only thing that could make him just as much money as the Stevenson fight probably is a Cruz fight, and what would definitely make him more money than a Stevenson fight is Tank. But Martin's kind of high risk, low reward for Tank Davis. Would they really want to make that fight? And then why would they want to give Cruz to Frank Martin when they could give Cruz to Gervonta Davis? So not sure here. But it looks like Stevenson would have to look for either Cruz, Zepeda, or Edwin de los Santos. Stevenson's already called out de los Santos. He's probably putting it together that Loma said no, Cruz has said no in the past, and Cruz is with PBC. Martin has said no, Zepeda has said no, and Golden Boy has said no for Zepeda. So he's down to the last guy all the way at number 6 because 1, 3, 4, and 5 won't fight him. So he's all the way down to the guy for number 6 to fight for the vacant WBC belt, and that's the situation that Shakur's in right now. So what sucks is he's being avoided enough to the point that he's got to fight the number 6 guy to get the vacant belt as opposed to 1, 3, 4, or 5. But the good news for him is at least he will, have the WBC lightweight belt. Kind of. Interim, something. Or the full belt. I don't know. We'll see what Mauricio does. He kind of makes it up as he goes along. Molly Mall, what's up, brother? Said, how do you feel about Devin versus Ryan after Regis? Molly Mall, I would have Devin Haney over Ryan. They're just two different levels of fighter. I know that Ryan has some of the tools, physical tools, hand speed, size, good power to compete. He's an elite level talent, but not an elite level fighter. He doesn't have the defense of Devin Haney, the jab of Devin Haney, the distance control of Devin Haney, the smarts of Haney, the versatility to his approach and offense and the defense is Devin. Devin is just a better fighter than Ryan Garcia. Even if Ryan has some physical attributes like power, over Devin Haney, even if he's a little faster than Devin Haney, who's also very fast. But yeah, I think Devin would pick Ryan apart and show the difference in levels between their two skill sets. Let me see. Got another super chat I got to get to from Marky Dan. Said, any rumors or reports on why Frank pulled out? No, nothing right now. All I could speculate is maybe he was guaranteed something just as lucrative or better. That would, to me, probably mean Isaac Cruz or Frank Martin, or maybe they find a way to pay him just as much, if not more, through their own revenue streams. That's not my expertise necessarily, but I would think outside of Cruz and Tank, that maybe Chris Colbert, who said he would fight him in the past, who was, on Twitter with Errol Spence about fighting him, but that's not really that sexy a fight. I think Frank Martin definitely wins that fight. He definitely wins that fight. Another super chat from Blind Faith. Thank you, brother. Said, Shakur is the new Bud with fights at Top Rank. I actually appreciate Shakur's old school mentality, saying he's willing to fight any and all to get to undisputed. Yeah, and I believe him too. Another thing, that's right, maybe I should have known better that Shakur and Martin weren't going to agree, because Al Heyman and Jay Prince, they rarely do business together, if ever. That's probably part of why Andre Ward Adonis Stevenson fight never happened, and that all goes back to Floyd Mayweather getting out of his deal in 2006 and leaving Jay Prince in 06 and going, and they never really do business with each other, and this would have been them doing business with each other, and nope, it didn't happen. So I have no idea what Frank Martin has in store next for Shakur. He called out De Los Santos, and just looking at the rankings, you can see why. So the other guys have already said no. So he's getting right to the guy that he thinks will actually say yes, who's talked shit back to him. Shakur definitely wins that fight against De Los Santos too. So yeah. Boxing losing fans because too much political bullshit, says A-Pick 1180. I of course agree, but I'm in the thick of it and try to make sense of it what I can. At the end of the day, all these businesses, from Top Rank, Matchroom, and PBC, they're the ones who put the lights on. So as much as we don't like some of the things that go on, we don't have the budget to pay the fighters and put on the fights we gotta see. So we gotta, work with them a little bit and see what sense of everything we can make. So, let's see. Real Truth talks at how come Canelo is ducking David Benavidez? I don't know. I've been asking Canelo about Benavidez for years. He's just made it clear that he has he's not interested in fighting him right now at this moment. In the future, why not? Let's see. Why not? So we'll see. I don't know. I ultimately think Canelo will fight David Benavidez. I think that's the kind of fighter and man Canelo is, that if David keeps winning and it's a fight people keep asking for, he will do it. It's just that he's the boss and he will do it on his time when he feels like it and when he deems Benavidez worthy. I've been ready to see the fight, but I do respect that Canelo's a great fighter. I don't want him to continue to avoid the Benavidez fight at 168 pounds. But again, I think he will take that fight in due time, and it'll be a great fight when it happens. I favor the younger guy who has the better gas tank in the second half of the fight in Benavidez. But Benavidez could get stopped on a body shot in the first 6 rounds because Canelo could get underneath him on the inside. Better head movement and, better punch placement. Still a great puncher. So we'll see.